Looking at the big blue sky, thinking whether you and I will ever fall in love. I know for me, it'll be so.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight to talk about the Bachelor of Arts Multidisciplinary Studies program at Boise State University, formerly known as the General Studies program. My name is Rebecca Morgan, and I'm your host tonight, as well as a graduate of this great program. And with me tonight are several guests. My first guest is Rihanna Hartung. She's a 2012 graduate. She's also working at St. Luke's as a physician's liaison. Also with me tonight is Mike Smith. He is a 2012 graduate and small business owner of Eversmith Incorporated. I'd like to also introduce you to Gina Russell. She's a 2012 graduate and Vice President of Commercial Real Estate at U.S. Bank. We also have with us tonight James McNorton, who is a current student, and he will actually graduate next year. He is pursuing the multidisciplinary degree with an addiction studies minor. He works at Bell Counseling. He assists kids with counseling needs as he works to become his own certified counselor. We also have Vicki Budd, and she's the program director since the degree began in 2008, as well as Alexis Kenyon, who's the program enrollment advisor. Let's get right into it. Vicki, tell us a little bit more about the program history and recent name change.
Sure, Rebecca. As people know, many jobs in today's workforce require a bachelor's degree. I had a student in my office the other day that was telling me that she applied for a job and she was one of 300 applicants. So oftentimes HR departments will actually use the bachelor's degree as a screening tool to get you to that next level. Employers in most cases tell us that they're looking more for the skills that a bachelor's degree person obtains. Things like, can you problem solve? Do you know how to think critically? Can you work as a team? That's even more important than having an actual degree specific to a major. I often tell students that are considering this degree to poll 5 of their best friends and that already have bachelor's degrees and ask them how many are actually working in the major that they got their degree in. And in most cases, or many times, that's not the case. It's really more about the skills that you obtain in a bachelor's degree. The program actually began in 2008 to satisfy a need or help satisfy a need for the Boise community particularly and rural Idaho for people that had a significant amount of college credit already but hadn't yet completed their degree. We wanted to create a way for them to continue to work and still be able to complete a bachelor's degree. The degree actually is a part of the After Work program through the Extended Studies Division at Boise State, and it's housed in the College of Social Science and Public Affairs. We have nearly 600 students that have enrolled in the program and almost 250 graduates. So the really great news is that we have a 93% retention rate. Students that actually take this program complete their degrees. So that's really great to see. Next year we're going to be changing the name, as you mentioned, Rebecca, from a Bachelor's of General Studies degree to a Bachelor of Arts in Multidisciplinary Studies, because we really think that that better reflects the academic rigor that's required of the program.
And Vicki, how exactly does that program work?
Students create in the first course that they take the semester that they're accepted into the program, they develop what's called an individual degree plan, or an IDP. And basically that consists of personal and professional goals that they have that they want to complete as a result of completing their degree at Boise State. They essentially customize their upper division coursework, so they get to choose the courses that they want to take and then justify those against the goals that they've developed for the program. That individual degree plan is submitted to an advisory committee who reviews and approves the plan. And once that plan's approved, that's what students are held accountable to for graduation. So it's sort of like customizing a major and getting it approved. The Multidisciplinary Studies Advisory Committee consists of a representative from each of the academic colleges at Boise State. And many students will often complete a minor as part of the degree.
And Vicki, what advice do you give to these potential students?
The biggest advice I give to students is to take it at a pace that works in their life. Slow and steady really wins the race. It's really, if you push too hard, you end up quitting and then you don't meet your goal of a bachelor's degree. I often tell students, think about how many times you've thought about coming back to school, and if you would have just taken a class or two every semester, you'd be done. The other really neat thing about the program, I think, that I try and encourage is that they're doing this similar to many other students in the program. Those that are trying to complete a bachelor's degree by working full-time, perhaps being a single parent, caring for an aging parent, balancing numerous things. So there's a lot of support for each other as they go through the program.
Mm-hmm. And Alexis, as the program enrollment advisor, what type of student is this program designed for?
Well, this program, like Vicki said, is really designed for non-traditional students. They've made an effort to attend college in the past, and for whatever reason, life interfered and they were unable to complete their degree. We have students in their 20s, and our oldest student is actually 80 years old. And they come to this program for different reasons. They may want to advance in their current career and just have hit that glass ceiling by not having the degree, or they want to fast track into a graduate program and see this as a way to earning their bachelor's degree before moving on and working on a graduate program. Or for some of our older students, it's really a bucket list item, and they want to set an example for their kids as well as their grandchildren.
Mm-hmm. And what are the demographics of some of these students?
Well, our average age is 41, and actually 51% of our students attend part-time, so they're working or taking care of their family. College is much different now than it was 5, 10, 20 years ago, so the use of technology in the classroom and in the online components of the coursework is a necessary part. Through our high quality advising, we assist our students in successfully completing their bachelor's degree and earning that.
Yes. And how do they know if they meet the minimum requirements for this degree program?
The entry requirements for this program, students need to have at least 58 credits and at least a 2.25 cumulative GPA, as well as have 5 years of life experience outside of being a full-time student, meaning you're working, you're in the military, you volunteer, you take care of family members, etc.
Mm-hmm. So let's hear from some of our graduates and a current student that's in the program. Gina, let's start with you. What were the biggest hurdles for you in completing this degree?
Rebecca, my biggest hurdle was balancing school with my professional job and my family. I had spent over 25 years establishing a career in banking, and I could not let that go. I worked 40-plus hours a week. I carried 6 credits a semester, 3 credits during the summer, and that was a lot of responsibility. I also had my family. My husband, my sons had depended on me for many, many years to be there to support them, to love them, and I didn't have the luxury of reducing my commitment to either my job or to my family. And with that, I forgot to take care of the one person that was going to be able to fulfill a goal, and that was myself. And so I needed to find a better balance, and eventually I did. And stay tuned, and I'll give you some additional advice for non-traditional students returning to college.
So James, I have a question for you. What are the challenges that you currently have while in school?
Yeah, I have some of the same concerns that we all face. I'm a full-time student, and I work full-time, and I had a lot of financial issues just getting into college, and so I have to maintain a certain academic standard to actually continue to have financial aid, and that was sometimes really a grind. And then, like it was mentioned about everything is the technology now is so different than 20 years ago when I stopped going, and so that curve has been really bumpy trying to get through and navigate through. But I also learned through the program that how to ask for help, and that's been one of the biggest tools I've actually used to help me out.
Mm-hmm. Great. Mike, if you have your own business, you obviously didn't have to have a degree. Why did you then decide to complete this degree?
Professional credibility. As a sign language interpreter, the national certifying body, the Registry of Interpreters for the Deaf, now requires a degree to sit for one of their tests. So if I want to advance, take any of the newer tests, I needed to have a degree. So it opens up more opportunities for me personally, professionally. I am also thinking about now going to get my master's because I want to help educate young interpreters coming into the field, and I need to have a degree for that to be able to do that. And lastly, my oldest just started at CWI, and I wanted to graduate before she does.
So, Rihanna, why did you decide to complete your degree?
Well, really, it was, for promotional opportunities in my career. I knew that, without a degree, there was very little, opportunity for advancement. And also, I knew I wanted to continue on with my education, and this was a great way to complete my bachelor's degree in a timely manner, and that would allow me to move into a master's program. So I'm currently seeking my Master of Health Science with an emphasis in leadership.
Great. Mike, I have another question for you. What advice would you give to a non-traditional student that's trying to complete this degree and try to balance that with their life?
Planning and more planning. At the time I finished my degree, I was working full-time, a job and a half, plus taking full credit hours. It got to the point where I was scheduling homework time for specific classes. I was scheduling time for when I was going to sleep. If I didn't stick to that schedule, then I ended up with a whole stack of stuff at the end of the week, and I didn't get any of it accomplished in the manner that I wanted to. The other thing that I wish I would have used more was the General Studies Mentor Program. They have mentors available. There's a couple situations, opportunities that I wasn't aware of at the time that I learned of after the fact, that had I worked with a mentor, I probably would have been aware of. And don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, if you don't know, if you're curious, ask. I mean, the worst they can do is say no. There's a lot of help out there. Using the labs on campus. My last semester I used the labs a lot more because if I was stuck on something, there was usually somebody else there I could talk to that could help me work through it or whatnot. A lot of the stuff I did was online, away from home. One cool thing is the Writing Center. You can actually email your papers in, and they'll email you a response, so you don't have to be on campus for that if you're not on campus a lot.
That's great. So, Gina, what advice do you think that you would give?
As a mentor to students who are entering the program, I always start by telling them to not forget the responsibility that they have to themselves. A lot of my stress was self-induced, and I needed to find a better balance to my life, to school, and remember that that's a critical thing. I found that I needed to schedule time for myself, time to just attend a yoga class or to read a book that wasn't an assigned reading project. I would also encourage non-traditional students to keep an open mind about the classes that they enroll in. For example, when I graduated from high school and first went to Boise State as a young student, I dreaded the statistics class. Didn't like it at all. But when I came back as an adult and entered my statistics class, I found that I really enjoyed the class and that I was able to help other students in the class who were struggling. Also, I would encourage students, non-traditional students, to go ahead and look at some of the commitments they have to organizations or functions that aren't really necessary, that aren't related to your job, to your family. And go ahead and let some of those commitments go and remind yourself that that doesn't make you a bad person, that you're letting those commitments go, but you can get back to those commitments after you graduate. Finally, don't give up. Earning that piece of paper is such a rewarding experience.
I completely agree. Rihanna, what was your favorite part of the program?
Well, there were, several things really. The first was the ability to take a variety of the courses online, either at night or on the weekends, so I could work full-time during the day. That flexibility was excellent. Also, it was, the ability to create my own curriculum, based on my career goals and my interests. So I took a variety of health science courses as well as marketing and business courses, that could help me in my current role and then help me, in pursuing my master's later on. Additionally, there was a ton of support from other students, the staff, and the faculty. The student mentor program is excellent and is available for anyone who is interested. One of the most rewarding things, now that I'm graduated, is to be able to mentor current students in the program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then James, you're still in the program, so what's your favorite part right now?
Well, I mean, I'm just so enthusiastic about the program, and I also like that piece about how I can make my schedule to fit my passion now, which is becoming a substance abuse counselor, and I'm working in the field today. And I get to take the classes that I have some practical experience with, and I get right in the classroom, and I'm learning everything that I'm doing at a different level, and it's just been such a blessing. And that also that the program resurrects my career. I came in, I was pretty hopeless. I had some challenges to overcome. I had a very low GPA, and I had 140-something credits, and no degree, and I was basically hopeless. And I made that phone call to the program, and Vicki picked up the phone, and she just grabbed me by the arm, and we walked over to the classes, and we walked over to the orientation, and it was just wonderful. It was just what I needed, and that personal contact that I had with a person in the program, it really made the difference. And that gave me some momentum, and it gave me encouragement to tackle what I hadn't been through in 20 years. What I couldn't do my whole life was make decent grades, get my GPA up, and which enabled me to get financial aid so I can continue my college career.
That's great. Gina, Boise State is currently working on developing a completely online degree completion option. That is, that students could complete this degree by taking all of their remaining coursework that they need online. How do you think that will benefit the community?
Well, online classes allows people like me more flexibility to study when it works into my schedule. Online classes helped me to balance school with life. About half of my classes were taken online, and if I could have, I would have taken all of my classes online. Nowadays people are able to complete their master's degree online, and so we should be able to complete a bachelor's degree online. In addition, Idaho has a lot of remote locations, and being able to hook into the computer, take those online classes, because they don't have the access to the colleges and universities